Ever wonder why some of Hollywood's most iconic films vanished from theaters overnight? In the shadow of censorship, masterpieces were locked away for daring to hint at same-gender romance. One groundbreaking film was destroyed so thoroughly that only a single copy survived hidden in a closet for 40 years. Grab your popcorn as we uncover 15 classic films that censors couldn't handle. Different from the Others, 1919. Different from the Others wasn't just banned. It was hunted down and destroyed by Nazi forces with such vigor that only one fragmented copy survived. Secretly preserved in a Ukrainian closet for decades, this silent German film starring Konrad Vitae was the world's first pro-gay movie created to fight against paragraph 175, the German law criminalizing homosexuality. Director Richard Oswald collaborated with Magnus Hirschfeld, a pioneering sexologist whose research institute was later burned by Nazis. The film boldly depicted a famous violinist blackmailed for his orientation and included an unprecedented happy ending, showing a future where gay people could live openly. Initially screened to packed houses in Berlin, it was restricted to medical professionals after just 1 year of release. When fragments were finally rediscovered in the 1970s, film historians called it the missing link of queer cinema. What makes this film truly revolutionary was its message directly to viewers. You are not sick. You are not criminal. You are not alone. Over a century later, the surviving 50 minutes still pack more courage than many modern films, showing how far ahead of its time it truly was. Rope, 1948. Alfred Hitchcock's Rope pulled off the impossible smuggling a gay relationship past Hollywood's moral watchdogs by hiding it in plain sight. Based on the Leopold and Loeb murder case, Hitchcock filmed this thriller in 10-minute continuous takes to create the illusion of one unbroken shot. But the technical wizardry was just a distraction from the film's true daring. The two murderers, played by John Daw and Farley Granger, himself bisexual, were clearly portrayed as a couple without ever saying so explicitly. Their mentor, played by James Stewart, delivers the film's most loaded line when he tells them they're tied together in equality by their shared dark secret. The censors missed it entirely, but audiences didn't. Rope was banned in several cities and withdrawn from circulation for decades. Film scholar Robin Wood later called it Hitchcock's most explicitly gay film, noting how the director used the constraints of the Hays Code to create tension through what couldn't be shown. Today, it's studied as a masterclass in subtext and visual coding, turning censorship itself into a storytelling device. The real brilliance, making viewers complicit by forcing them to fill in the blanks the censors created. Girls in Uniform, Maideen in Uniform, 1931. Girls in Uniform survived 3 different attempts to erase it from history. This revolutionary German film about a schoolgirl falling in love with her female teacher was first targeted by Nazis who destroyed most copies. Then American censors blocked it from U.S. screens, and finally, Cold War politics kept it buried in East Germany. Yet somehow the cinematic phoenix refused to die. Director Leontine Schon created something extraordinary. A film with an entirely female cast that openly challenged patriarchal power while portraying lesbian desire with startling tenderness. The boarding school setting becomes a metaphor for fascism, with the headmistress demanding girls sacrifice individuality, while the teacher, Frein von Bernernberg, dares to show compassion and affection. When Eleanor Roosevelt personally intervened to allow a heavily cut American screening, the film still caused a sensation. Critic Pauline Kael called it the first film to present women's emotional relationships without apology or amen deviance. Most revolutionary was its ending change from the original play's suicide to one of solidarity where the girls unite to save their friend. This transformation from tragedy to resistance made it not just a landmark of queer cinema, but of feminist film, proving that even under threat of censorship, art could imagine new possibilities. The Children's Hour, 1961. The Children's Hour took Broadway's most controversial play and turned it into Hollywood's most uncomfortable conversation. Based on Lillian Hellman's groundbreaking work, this film, starring Audrey Hepburn and Shirley Memlan, tells the story of 2 women whose lives are destroyed when a troublemaking student accuses them of being lovers. What's shocking isn't just the topic, it's how director William Wyler was forced to remake his own film. 25 years earlier, Wyler had adapted the same play as these three, completely removing the lesbian content. This time, he kept it. Though the word lesbian is never uttered, the result, the film was banned in numerous countries and couldn't be shown on American television until the 1990s. Emlan later revealed she and Wyler never even discussed her character's orientation during filming. That's how taboo the subject remained. Film historian Veto Russo noted the tragic irony. In both versions, innocent women are destroyed by the suggestion of lesbianism, as if the accusation alone, true or false, was enough to ruin lives. The film's most heartbreaking moment comes when Emlan's character finally acknowledges her feelings, only to immediately hang herself, reflecting Hollywood's insistence that queerness could only end in punishment. Yet, despite its dated elements, the film cracked open a door that would never fully close again. Victim, 1961. Victim didn't just challenge censors, it changed British law. This groundbreaking thriller starring Dirk Bogarde was the first English-language film to use the word homosexual and deliberately set out to decriminalize being gay in the UK. Bogarde, a closeted star at the height of his matinee idol fame, risked everything to play a successful lawyer blackmailed over his attraction to men. The British Board of Film Censors initially demanded 29 cuts, calling the subject immoral. American censors rejected it entirely. Bogarde's own studio begged him not to take the role, warning it would destroy his career. He did it anyway, later calling it the wisest decision I ever made professionally. The film's impact was seismic. Its unflinching portrayal of black male victims from all social classes portrayed with dignity rather than stereotype became a powerful argument for legal reform. 6 years later, Parliament partially decriminalized homosexuality with politicians directly referencing the film in debates. Critic Roger Ebert called it not just a social document but a fascinating thriller and a deeply compassionate human drama. Perhaps most remarkably, this film about injustice was released the same year as The Children's Hour. But while Hollywood required punishment for its characters, British cinema dared to imagine change was possible. Sunday, Bloody Sunday, 1971. Sunday, Bloody Sunday, obliterated boundaries by treating its bisexual love triangle with such matter-of-fact normalcy that audiences didn't know how to react. Director John Schlesinger's follow-up to Midnight Cowboy featured Peter Finch and Glenda Jackson sharing a male lover, Murray Head without melodrama, or moralizing just adults navigating complicated feelings with remarkable honesty. The film's most revolutionary scene showed Finch and Head kissing fully on the lips, cinema's first romantic gay kiss in a mainstream film. When test audiences walked out in disgust, the studio panicked, but Schlesinger refused to cut it. Multiple countries banned the film outright, while others demanded extensive edits. In America, the film received an X rating despite containing no explicit content whatsoever. Critic Pauline Kael called it the most sophisticated, most civilized movie about the complexity of personal relationships to come out of any country in years. The film earned 4 Oscar nominations, including Best Director and Actor, forcing Hollywood to acknowledge what many theaters wouldn't even screen. Finch later said, "I received hate mail by the sackful, but also letters from gay men saying the role gave them hope." The film's greatest achievement was treating homosexuality as neither sin nor social problem, but simply as one aspect of human experience, a radical act that made censors more uncomfortable than any explicit content could have. Desert Hearts, 1985. Desert Hearts didn't just break the lesbian death rule, it shattered it with the most explicit love scene between women ever filmed in mainstream American cinema. Director Donna Deitch mortgaged her house and spent years raising money to adapt Jane Rule's novel because every studio refused to finance a lesbian romance with a happy ending. The result became the unlikely film that censors couldn't kill. Set in 1959, Reno, the film follows an English professor seeking a divorce who falls for a free-spirited younger woman. Their chemistry builds to a 6-minute love scene so intimate and authentic that numerous countries banned the film outright. In America, the MPAA threatened an X rating until Dage fought back, eventually securing an R but losing theatrical distribution in conservative states. Film Scholar B. Scholar B, Ruby Rich, called it the first truly mainstream lesbian film, noting how it defied every convention by refusing to punish its characters or treat their love as deviant. While conservative critics dismissed it as propaganda, audiences voted with their wallets, turning this indie film into one of the highest-grossing limited releases of the year. Most revolutionary was its joyful ending the first time mainstream audiences saw two women choose each other without tragedy, disease, or conversion. As one viewer wrote to Deitch, "I drove 300 Mellard to see women kiss on screen and not die afterward." Sebastian 1976, Sebastian wasn't just banned, it was pro.